Let's bring in the Director General of the Nigeria Young Farmers Network, Promise Amahah. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very inspiring one, I want to say, by the First Lady there, trying to catch them young, letting young people see that, you know, when you're told to go to the farm, it's not punishment. I mean, this is a good attempt, isn't it?
Oh, very well.
What's your take first on that? Is that a good place to start?
No, it's a fantastic place to start because beyond just talking the talk, she's actually indicated the political will and the commitment to ensuring succession planning in the agri-food system in Nigeria, which has been a major problem. We're a country that our food security is accelerated by, our food insecurity is accelerated by the fact that we have aging farmers. 60% of our smallholders and primary producers are above the age of 60 in a country of over 200 million people. So the attention to succession planning to be able to find a way to raise the new breed of young people who will take charge of our food security is a critical stake that the First Lady, that I congratulate and commend, has taken to ensure that we start to really sensitize the younger ones and prepare them as custodians of food security, because it goes without saying, without the young people being prepared and nurtured for succession planning, how do you sustain food security of a country of above 200 million people with technology, and innovation and research? It goes without saying that this is a commendable effort by Her Excellency. And at Nigerian Young Farmers Network, we want to say thank you, ma'am, for being there to
the effort.
Yeah, sure.
Great one.
For amplifying what
But it will take a lot more than handing over hoes, to young people, those symbolic, gesture. What are the other factors that must play out if Nigeria is to start that journey of food security?
Well, I like that you mentioned handing over hoes to the young people. If there was anything I was going to fault in the First Lady's presentation of the Young Farmers Club, is the fact that what we're trying to do is to change that narrative, to rebrand agriculture as attractive and as a very technology-driven industry and sector. And in 2024, handing over hoes to young farmers, young students, as young farmer clubs in schools, does quite a disservice to what we're trying to promote. We're trying to promote agriculture and farming as a very decent, dignifying opportunity, and that is not associated with poverty or backbreaking processes. We would have preferred if models of tractors and other agricultural equipments and mechanized equipments were presented to those young people, even if they were dummy, than just giving them hoes, because it sends them back to think about the backbreaking effort, which is not the global best practice anymore.
Agriculture has moved.
We've moved. We're no longer there. We're no longer there. So in as much as I think that she's done the right thing, we would need her help in supporting our efforts to rebrand agriculture across its value chain, and to say that young people, you see, agriculture is no longer hoe and cutlass as it used to be, back in the days. That's some Flintstone activity. Right now, agriculture is artificial intelligence. Agriculture is about robotics. Agriculture is about mechanized equipment for combined harvesters, tractors, drones, for goodness sake. It would have been better that drones were handed over to those children instead of carrying knapsack sprayers to spray. Now you can use drones to apply to larger fields and also precision agriculture, basically.
But some would argue with you that that's in the long term. But I mean, like they say, start from where you are. Concerning where we are right now in Nigeria, whether it's hoes and cutlasses or whatever you can, lay your hands on. I have a small garden in my house. Every opportunity, I put it out there. I see my tomatoes, coming up every day, and it's such a delight to look at. But I mean, how do we begin to now change the narrative? You talk about modern farming techniques. Let me respond to that quickly.
So you see, you can't be dealing with growing youth apathy towards agriculture, and you're trying to justify why you have to hand over hoes and cutlasses to, incubates, as we call them, young people who are at nursery, primary, and secondary stages who need to be introduced. Their world is totally different. Agri-tech, in Nigeria, it's worth millions of dollars. So there's no excuses whatsoever, even if you want to talk about
abroad. I mean, the richest people,
no matter how small your spaces are, technology has made it possible that you can produce food anywhere and everywhere, for goodness sake. So it doesn't justify the reason why you have to introduce cutlasses and hoes to young people at those thriving ages. You know, parents are looking at these things, these young people are looking at them. They don't envy the old farmers who look haggard and poor and, you know, sickly when they carry these hoes and cutlasses. There's no efficiency to it. There's no reason whatsoever to justify that. And that's why I'm trying to juxtapose that clearly for you to see that regardless of your small spaces, there are modern equipment you can use in tending to your gardens, right, that can make it more possible.
Let's talk about the agri value chain. I mean, you go to the farm, you produce the crops and what have you. But then again, from the farms to the final consumer, a lot goes to waste. A lot, remains primary, not processed. I need you to speak to that.
So that's also a very critical part of what we're doing at the Nigerian Young Farmers Network. Okay. We are a disruptive organization. Amongst our membership, you find pharmacists, you find traders, you find engineers, you find transport and logistics providers, because you must understand that every chain can only be as strong as its weakest link.
Absolutely.
For the longest time I've known agricultural production in Nigeria, we've recorded over almost 50% post-harvest losses. What's the essence of primary production when you lose 50% post-harvest losses? In a country that is bedeviled by food insecurity, if you attempt to even reverse 20% of the post-harvest losses, you find out that it starts to show up our targets around.
So how do we correct that?
So how we correct that is to create an ecosystem that is all-inclusive, that engages both young farmers, processors, value chain actors within the same ecosystem, so that everybody has a role cut out for them. We are able to introduce modern technologies around post-harvest management. You don't wait till the production, we're on harvest period now. You don't wait till then to be able to know that you have to empower infrastructure for post-harvest management. How many of our silos across the country are working? How many warehouses are available to take in? Okay, we're having a bumper harvest that is dropping the food prices in the market currently. Yeah. How sustainable is that without proper infrastructure for post-harvest management? Proper sensitization of young people that you don't have to be a farmer to play in the agricultural value chain, that there are different opportunities. We're having a high rate of unemployment, and agriculture is still the highest employer of labor, and that is without the other value chains being embedded into it. Right. So imagine if we embed the other value chains like post-harvest management, research and development, extension services, mechanizations. You can have 60-year-old, if you buy tractors all you want, you're going to buy tractors that are modern tractors, and you hand them over to 60-year-olds.
They can't.
So come on. So these tractors are going to pack up. So when you bring young people into this conversation, looking at the whole value chain and provide that public enlightenment of the opportunities that creates jobs for all of them, then you start to make progress. Because basically what we're doing in Nigeria is basically reactionary. But we immediately will start to be proactive. Then we'll start to put things in proper perspective. We'll start to plan for succession planning. We'll start to think about post-harvest management. And those are the critical issues around the food insecurity we're challenged with. Again, in all you're doing, remember that we have issues about farming insecurity. Do all you want and take these kids to the villa and introduce them to young farmers clubs. The fact that they know that we still have bandits ravaging our farmlands and insurgents making sure that life is miserable for them. Farmers basically pay levies to be able to access their farms. It will never make it attractive. Do a survey across the streets of Nigeria and ask what young people think about farming. Sensitization is the first place to start. We need to bridge the knowledge gap. And that's the first thing to do. And that's when you start being proactive, because young people need to see agriculture differently as a holistic value chain, as against just farming. If you ask any average young person...
And maybe modeling too. I mean, I know of a young lady, I listened to her on radio. At the time, she was 26 years old, and she said she was already a millionaire farming strawberries in Plateau State. Now, unfortunately, Plateau is in the throes of insecurity and what have you. But it's important to also model to young people, look, that there are young persons who are making money, who are making a good living, for themselves by taking up farming. Is that happening?
Of course, it's happening at our level, but we're trying to be very strategic about our roadmap for the year 2024 and 2025 to say, you know what, we need to first of all focus on bridging the knowledge gap. Right. Because what you're talking about speaks to the knowledge gap, where young people understand that they can make much more from agriculture beyond just farming. We have young people processing coconut within our network, and from processing coconut, from coconut to coconut oil that is valid for export, they earn so much more, up to 2 million naira monthly from coconut processing. And it's manual processing without even the basic equipments and support they require to do that. So there are different layers of engagement young people are involved in, even training that can, capacity building that can help them benefit more from the agricultural value chain.
The possibilities
it's limitless.
Huge,
it's limitless. In fact, I like that I'm on television now to say, you know what, we can address the critical issues of unemployment and hunger in this country.
And even inflation, because I mean, the headline inflation, the numbers are high because they're driven by food inflation. Food inflation about 37.51%, though in the last 2 months they seem to have come down, but they're still, you know, very high. So if we get agriculture right, our inflation numbers definitely
if you
would
get the
come
young
down.
people into agriculture and the agri-food system as a holistic value chain, that is the righting of the wrongs we've done for so long.
Absolutely.
And it starts with sensitization across, not just young people, across every stakeholder, right? Agri-financing is a challenge, insurance is a challenge. And these are the depths of sensitization and knowledge of critical stakeholders, local government chairmen, grassroots operators, governors. What do they understand about the agri-food system? We need to really have this conversation.
And that conversation continues. Promise Amahah, DG Nigeria Young Farmers Network. Thank you so much. And it's good that you continue to emphasize young people. It's really about young people pushing agriculture.